Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Got it, just me and you. Motion carries. Item number 1, approval of commercial pier permit for Beacon Point Community. Mark?
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
This is a building permit for a dock at the Beacon Point Homeowners Association, their community pier. It's a very simple dock. It stretches out 40 foot into the lake, and it's 20 foot wide. It's a T-shaped pier. It actually meets all our homeowner regulations. The only reason we're here is because it's not a residential dock. It's for an HOA, and by our code, it has to be approved by city council.
Any questions?
Make a motion.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 2, 2205 13th Street RFP, Councilor Busby.
This is a property in my district across from the YMCA, across from on 13th Street. We had a problem there. We have had a problem. We've had a couple of properties that have flooded badly. We've assessed the cost of bringing that to an end, and I think last time I saw it, we were in the $11 million range. So we went ahead and done what we've done in other neighborhoods in the city. We bought one of those properties in exchange for closing off any future liability on it and closing off, Tom, I believe there was a health liability issue circling that we closed off. We bought the property somewhere in the 400s, 440-ish, I think.
460.
460?
Yes.
We've torn the house down. We've paid to have the basement filled in so that doesn't keep occurring. And so what's there is a dead piece of property. And what we're asked, Dr. Sproul is here. He owns the property horseshoe around it. And I'm asking that we declare this surplus and do it as we've done the other properties throughout the city. Put it out for RSP, let people take a shot at it, let the market determine it.
Any questions, any comments?
We have no opposition to that. We would ask, though, that within the RFP, there be 3 things placed in it because the city purchased the property to help with the flooding issues that Mr. Busby described. One, that it maintain a public purpose and however it's incorporated. 2, that improve drainage in the area and help mitigate flooding. And 3, identify the city of any flooding that may occur in that area. So that would be what we would recommend as the administration regarding this, since we did acquire the property for Tom for 460. And so that's what it was purchased for. And so we would just want those things as part of it, as any development that occurred in and around that utilized that piece of property.
So actually, Mr. Parsons, you want to?
Can I speak?
Sure, come on up.
Come on up.
Give your name and address.
Cam Parsons,
Would you
29.
mind, Mr. Parsons, that way the television audience can hear you.
He's not deprived of your,
Your wisdom, we would not want them, as Mr. Busby said, to be deprived of.
Thank you, Mayor. Cam Parsons, 2909 7th Street. I'm real familiar with this property. In fact, the lady who lived there before had called me. The problem with this property is not the living elevation, it's the underground elevation, it's the basement. All right, so I'd like to comment on the mayor's suggestions, and let me state that I don't believe they're necessary. First of all, on all the other surplus properties that we have in the city, there's been no tag that there's got to be a public purpose. I don't understand that. I just don't understand why, if you're abandoning 30 pieces of property, you pick this one that's got to serve some type of public purpose. To address the problem that we have with this house, and actually another one that Dr. Spruill has behind it that's been flooding, and I think at one time the city attempted to buy that property from sort of a defensive standpoint prior to Dr. Spruill buying it. It is, once again, is the basements. So my suggestion is this be declared surplus property, RFP will go out, but the city sell it with a restrictive covenant that states that there will not that the living area be above a certain elevation to deal with the surface waters, and so I think that's palatable. Engineering department could figure out what that is, and because Dr. Spruill's got an office over there right next to it. It doesn't flood, so the elevation should be easily determined, and that way no one's digging basements. You're not worried about basements getting flooded, and the project that he's got around there has been designed. We've spent hours with the city. It's even with the buildings that he's putting up and parking and so on, it's actually improving drainage in the area. I really don't understand all three of those sort of vague, generic stipulations. Particularly, I don't understand why this particular piece of property would have to serve a public purpose. It should be available for development, as long as the development doesn't exacerbate or increase the drainage problem and cause a situation where the city's facing another lawsuit from the landowner. So if you have the elevation up, you're not doing a basement, you're not worrying about a basement flooding and mold and mildew getting up in the houses, which is what this prior property owner had. That's our problem. I've got it in my house. It was built in 1831. I got a basement. The old coal furnace was down there. But new houses don't have to have that. They've got a slab and they go up. So as a taxpayer and as counsel for the mayor, I do not understand those conditions. I would ask the committee just to go ahead and declare this surplus, put it out for RFP. But I do think it's reasonable that the city should be a little bit concerned and that the final elevations be set so that they're consistent with the grade of the Rock Point office and the other houses to the left and the right of this one that's been flooded.
I think to answer, I think they're very fair questions. The why on the public purpose, this is new territory for us, and in the properties that we've acquired, protected purchases for drainage, we've never had a situation like this. And so when we came to the city council to make those recommendations, the recommendations that we made to each and every one of you is that they would remain green spaces. In the conversations I know that Mr. Busby has had and that I've had, I think the concept we were looking for was more of a public parking type of public purpose in that area, that somehow this development may fit around that property and there could be a parking process for it. So that is the thinking on the public purpose side. In terms of improving drainage and preventing flooding, I think what you described actually would fit that when you talk about being of a higher level. So I don't think I don't believe that would be an issue in the RFP. The last one on identifying the flooding is that if we have flooding on that street, people whose cars are parked on that street, they're likely going to file claims against the city.
See, I disagree with you on that. And I mean, if first of all, we've been out there with the engineers. Tom and I have been out there. There's a dip at one point. In fact, you're familiar with the YMCA. I know you go there regularly. You've got, how you've got the drainage culvert there right in front of the Y, and then you've got another little sort of build out. I wish we had a picture here, but that area right there where there's a dip is really the only problem. And my response to it was, why, if there's a problem there, why are we allowing people to park in front of the YMCA? That you've got all the parking that's there now exists. The parking in front of Dr. Sproul's office. He owns the house on the corner. Where do you stop and where you can, in other words, how far are you going to prohibit people to park to try to avoid some type of unknown potential lawsuit? We can't protect to get everything. And we've had these conversations, and I think the engineering department sort of agreed. Well, we hadn't had any claims for people parked in front of the YMCA. I think there's the discussion with Tom has been, and he can reflect on this. I think there's been a few car flood claims against the city, but we don't have any right here.
Mayor,
So
can
I don't know. I think you can restrict some parking in the dip there, and the project that Dr. Sproul has actually is designed to put the parking east and west, and the engineering department agreed with that at the time.
Mayor, if I can interject briefly, I understand the proposal is to open up this property for a competitive purpose, and I appreciate Mr. Parsons' comments. I would suggest that those comments and explanations are voiced inside a response to an RFP, not one potential competitive party designing what the RFP should look like.
Well, what you do is you're putting a chilling effect on your RFP. If you're setting it out with restrictions, then you. I'm sorry, Mr.
No. I was just gonna say, I don't think we are, this particular item is to put it out for RFP. I don't think, I do kind of agree with Mr. Hall. I don't think we need to get in specifics of a specific project, just in case there's someone else that is interested in putting in an RFP for it. I don't think we need to get into a specific project. I think we can.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I do want to make one comment.
Go ahead.
Because I've been with this through the process, and the flood, making sure a flood now doesn't turn into a flood later.
Yeah.
That makes good sense. But if there were any ask that the RFP be in any way subsidized by the city, I think the restriction of it to a public purpose would make perfect sense. That's not what's being asked.
Yeah.
We're asking, it's dead property, put it out, let the market decide, and people take a shot at it. I don't see how you could place a restriction to public purpose on top of that. I'll be quiet.
I might add to that, Mr. Chairman. Who's interested in buying a surplus property if it's limited to being a public purpose?
I think the idea, actually, Mr. Parsons, came from some initial discussions, and granted, those plans may have changed, of looking at using that maybe as some sort of
green space,
auxiliary parking or something like that for a development on that corner. Now, those development plans may have changed, but that's where that concept was first, the genesis of that concept.
I understand, and we've gone from that concept to all of a sudden this idea of public purpose has been thrown into it. So that's really sidetracked the whole thing.
I think, Sky, help me with the process. I am new. So once we open the RFP, anybody can put in an RFP, and it's up to the council to approve which.
So what we'll do is Mr. Bobbitt will prepare a resolution for the council next week to declare this property surplus, and then we will draft and issue an RFP, and then those will come. Typically, an RFP will contain a judging body that determines what the best proposal is, that is then presented to council for ultimate approval.
I'll make a motion.
I second it. Been motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Next properties committee meeting will be March 3rd. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.